Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing this fine Friday afternoon, morning, afternoon? If you're watching this afterwards, I'm recording, it doesn't even matter. But for those of you who are live, whatever time it is, where you are, thanks for joining us. Really excited to wrap up our series this week on the 6 sales skills that will help you stand out in 2020 and how to build them. Today, we're going to wrap it up. We've got one last skill to talk about, and about every 30 to 90 seconds, I will be looking over here because my co-host, Liam, who just fell. Oh, no. Sorry, guys. Hold on 1 second. Oh, buddy. Oh. Sorry, everybody. That was horrible timing. It's okay. So, Luke, say hi to the nice people. Hi to the nice people. Oh, no. I'm so sorry, everybody. But I'll be right. You okay? We're okay? Oh, that's all right. You know what? What a great example of the fact that sometimes you have to keep trying and practicing. He's practicing his standing, and sometimes he falls down. And that's okay. And you get back up. And you're good. You're good. You're good. So sorry about that, everybody. Here's the authentic, real world kind of infringing upon on our LinkedIn live sessions. Yeah, you're okay. You're okay. Yeah. All right. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to finish up with leadership. Yeah, you're okay. You're okay. Oh, yeah, I know. Thanks, Katie. This is always a balancing act, and it's much better when he's happy. But yeah, I know. Who's that? Is that you? That's Liam. If he can see himself on the screen, things get a little better. Oh, okay. Okay. You want to try again? This is the great thing about kids. He wants to try again. And yeah. You know what made him stop crying? The ability to go and stand some more. So boom, there's your sales lesson for today. You're going to fall down. You're going to bang your head sometimes. You just get back up and then you start smiling. All right, we're good? Okay. Well, everybody, thank you again for joining me. Thanks for being here this whole entire week. If you have not had a chance to look at the past episodes, you can always go to our YouTube channel to check those out. I'll pop that up there. We have not only this entire week's sessions up there, but we actually have all the sessions I've done on LinkedIn Live for the past month and a half since we started the self-isolation. And I will continue to do these sessions throughout the self-isolation period. Next week, I'm really excited. I'm going to do a whole series specifically for everybody who wants to be or is planning on being a solopreneur, a freelancer, someone who's going out on their own. And by the way, Liam has gone over right to where he fell before. He's not going to be scared at all. So next week, if you are a solopreneur, if you know any solopreneurs, please share this with them. We will be coming every day, 11:30, right on the nose, or thereabouts, and going through not only some mindset stuff for being out on your own, but also some very practical ideas. I'm going to talk about how to develop your sales and marketing if you're out on your own, and also how to, even just put together software and processes. I think we're going to see a lot of people going out on their own because of the economy. And so, I want to make sure that we have the ability for people who are using this time of craziness as an excuse to start their own thing, whether, again, it's on purpose or planned, I should say, or not, but that's what we're going to do. And so let's talk about our last topic, because, hey, I never know when Liam's going to, hit the ground again. And of course now, hey, Liam, don't play with that. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, come on over here. Oh, yeah. What's also great about children is they will go for the one thing in the room that they're not supposed to go to. Awesome. Now he's playing with all of his toys. Fantastic. That's great. Keep doing that, buddy. All right. So we're going to wrap up today with the sixth of the 6 sales skills that employers were looking for, and really where LinkedIn, based on the data they had, where there was the biggest gap between what employees had as far as the skills and what employers were looking for. And the one we're going to look at today is called leadership. And here's what's really interesting about going through this skill. I'm actually not a fan of the term leadership. And here's why. I think it's kind of an empty vessel. Meaning, like, what is leadership? Most people, when they describe leadership, it becomes this circular tautology. They're like, a leader is somebody who's good at leading. And if you're good at leading, you're a leader. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And so I really think we want to be able to dive into what the topic really means. But here's what I'm going to look at it for today, and what I really think it means for us in sales roles and in customer-facing roles. What does being a leader really look like? It really is about taking action and making something happen. We were talking yesterday about management. One of the steps of management is the idea of execution. I think leadership is really looking at that on a larger scale. And it's about going, hey, something doesn't exist. In hyper-connected selling, I write about the fact that sales is an inherently creative role, right? In that you are creating something that, when you create a deal, when you get a new client, when you're, offering your services, offering your products, somebody says yes, something new gets created there. That's really powerful. And I think that as we look to the next 3, 6, 9 months, the rest of this year, definitely going into 2021, there's going to be a real opportunity and a need for those in sales roles, whether, again, it's you're a business owner selling yourself, whether you're a salesperson for a larger organization, there's going to be this need for, I hate this term, but like proactive effort, meaning not just waiting and seeing what happens and being reactive, but really going out and creating something new. And the reason why is because I think the sales profession, and this is going to be a broad brushstroke, doesn't necessarily apply to anybody on the call here today, but I think what has happened over the last 5 to 10 years especially is that the economy was growing very quickly. There's this idea of just trying to scale. There's this idea of throwing technology into any sales problem whatsoever. And what I think that caused is complacency. And I think that a lot of people who are in sales roles right now, they kind of are just very mechanistic, right? That and I see this in sales organizations all the time. It's something I talk to sales leaders about. They're like, well, we've got this, all this technology, but I'm like, yeah, but do your people actually know what to do when they're in a conversation with a prospect? Like if you have great sales tools in your sales stack that gets you the conversation with the right prospect, like how do you actually have a good conversation that drives that prospect, that client's forward? I wanted to share something that my friend Scott Sambucci said in a post here today. He was talking about where sales is going, and I think this is really indicative, and I think it's really wise, and I want to give him credit for it. So we've enjoyed an economy that's gone up and up and up, batching and blasting our way to demos, letting the law of large numbers mask our inability to do our basic job as sales professionals. And I think that's what's happened. And so what I think leadership really is moving forward, and where you can stand out truly in the rest of this year and going into 2021 and in the future, is by planting a flag and going, I am going to not just sit here and be an order taker. I'm not just going to go with the flow, but I'm actually going to be, again, proactive is the best word I can think for this. And actually not do things just because they're urgent or not just because I think I'm supposed to do them, but actually investing in important aspects of my business. For example, just the fact that you're jumping on these calls, I think is the first step to that, right? And of course, as a speaker and a trainer, I can't talk to the people that don't show up, even though they're the ones that probably need it the most. But even if you think about everything that we talked about this week, all these skills are, these soft skills. And the thing about soft skills and developing them is there's very rarely either an impetus to do it right away, like there's not something that's driving it, and B, there's rarely a direct correlation between investing and getting something in return. And by direct, I mean like obvious right away. There actually is a ton of return that comes from investing in these soft skills. But it's not, oh, I went to this training seminar and I learned how to do a close and I used it the next day. Yeah, that stuff's all well and good. But again, that's just going to work if you just want to, again, be part of the machine, be a cog in the machine. If you're really going to be a leader, if you're going to really take your career where you want it to go, you've got to do the stuff that other people aren't doing, that because they're not willing to do it, they don't know they should. I mean, that's really, I think, where if you look at, especially going back over the last generation or two, that's really where sales success came from. Taking that extra step. There's a long lineage of sales books. I actually got a book from a friend. It was from like a sales leader, like, president of sales or something for an insurance company, but it was written in, I think, 1931. And I mean, it could have, a lot of it's the same. It was like, invest in yourself, put the time and energy into getting better, put the work in, surround yourself with good people, all the things that, we still talk about today. So the basics are still the basics. The fundamentals are still the fundamentals. But I think leadership is really, again, being willing to invest, being willing to see a future that other people can't, and then working towards that. And again, I think that's going to be way beyond just technology. This I had mentioned that the article that I wrote about these 6 sales skills was actually predicated on a study that LinkedIn did at the end of 2018 and 2019 about they call it the Emerging Jobs Report. And what's really interesting is if you read the full article, and you can just look up either my article on the 6 sales skills, which has a link, or just look. I think it's the 2018 Emerging Job Reports or 2019, one of those two. But right at the end, it's really interesting. This is the quote directly from that report. There's no doubt that AI skills are on the rise, because they'd seen that a lot from jobs in need for kind of technical skills. But some typically human skills that today cannot be replicated by machines have been growing almost as fast and are here to stay, right? So moving forward, we have to realize that this isn't about just getting a certification. This isn't about just learning a new software platform. These things are going to be important for a long time coming. That's right. And so it's worth investing in them. And so, as we kind of finish this week up and finish this topic up today of leadership, I don't have the 3 ways to build your leadership skills. And that's why, I think, and I have peers and colleagues who talk about leadership, and they have great material and great intent. But again, leadership is just, it's like love or success, right? It can mean whatever you want. But instead of giving you kind of the 3 ways to build your skills here, what I want to do is actually leave us this week, and I want to finish this series up with a challenge to you. And the challenge is quite simple. I want you to embrace the challenge of becoming the true sales professional of the future, of becoming the sales Sherpa, the guide, the resource, the person who helps their prospects, who helps their customers, who actually goes to what I mentioned my friend Scott Sambucci before. He calls it the loving of your customers. You have to love them. You have to want what's best for them. And it sounds kind of, like a tree hugger woo thing, but it's funny because everybody I know who's been truly successful long-term in sales really cares about the people that they serve. And so that's the challenge that I want to throw out to you. We've gone through a lot of material this week. If you didn't see any of the past ones, go ahead to the link. I'll leave it up there for just a second more, just to watch the videos. But that's the challenge. It's not necessarily easy, but nothing good ever is. And I will say, I'm glad that many of you are joining me for these LinkedIn Lives. I'm hoping to share some good information with you. But I'd also say that in the end, we know a lot about what it takes to be successful. It's really about execution. So that's my challenge to you. over the coming weeks and the coming months. Just execute on what you already know. Take action on the things that you do know how to do, how to take care of the people that you are working with. And I think you'll be successful. And Liam, how are we doing? Hey, come here. Come here. Maybe now that he's happy, he'll say goodbye. But I just want to say thank you for joining me this week. Thank you. I know many of you have been here for more than 1 week. This has been something that's been great for me during this shelter in place. Give a little structure to the time that I have. But if there's anything else I can do, please let me know. Feel free to message me afterwards. Feel free to reach out. I've got a lot more content on my website about a lot of these topics: sales, LinkedIn, networking, relationship building, professional development. You can find my blog at davidjpfisher.com/blog. If you aren't on my weekly email list, I would encourage you, send me a quick message. Say, hey, D, put me on the list. Give me the best email address for you. I send out 1 email a week, and I actually put a lot of time and effort into making sure it's really great material to help people out. So I'd encourage you to do that. And then, one way you can help me is if you do know somebody who's a small business owner, solopreneur, thinking about becoming an independent consultant, tell them about our series next week, because I'd like to get that information out to as many people as possible. And if you know any organizations who are looking to run meetings right now, even virtual meetings, whether that's a sales team, a networking group, an association, an industry group that you're in, feel free to introduce me to whoever sets up those meetings or send them over to me. That really helps me a lot, because the reality is a big chunk of my revenue for at least Q2 and Q3 kind of evaporated overnight. And so I got to make sure I can keep this kid fed. And so any recommendations or referrals does help me a lot. The other thing I would ask is, if you've been watching these for a while, if you're getting value out of it, do me a favor and pop over to my LinkedIn profile and give me a quick recommendation that on LinkedIn. That helps a ton. Even just 2 or 3 sentences. Hey, D Fish knows what he's talking about. He's helpful. Hopefully I have been. But that lets people who have not had an exposure to me know that I'm worth spending a few minutes getting to know. So that would be really helpful for me, and I'd really appreciate it. But other than that, it's been a great week. Thank you for joining me. And if you're in, again, that solopreneur world, small business world, freelancer, entrepreneur world, hopefully I'll see you next week. If not, it might not be as applicable, but you're definitely more than welcome to join. I'll be talking a lot about processes and mindset, which I think helps all salespeople, because in many ways, every salesperson should be their own independent business. And with that, here, Liam, come here. Now that he's happy and smiling, we'll say goodbye to everybody. So you want to say goodbye? Say goodbye. Everyone, thank you so much. As I've been finishing all of these, take care of yourself. Stay in if you can. If you can't, be careful. And as always, be patient, be kind, and take care of one another. Yeah. Thanks. Bye, everybody.